Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are covering a 2022 MLB mock draft. So you don't miss out on any of the content. Hit that subscribe button if you do enjoy baseball. We cover MLB mocks and a lot of other things baseball related. So make sure that you're hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss a beat. Now, looking at number one, we have the Baltimore Orioles, and they're faced with a big decision at one. They have a really good foundation with the roster to begin with, but how are they going to add on to that? How are they going to, push themselves into contention one day? Because the window is not right now. It's obviously for the future. To me, Druw Jones is a perfect, selection for them. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of he's 6'3", has great raw power, a guy that's going to be staying at that center field spot because of how phenomenal of a glove that he has. He's an all-around toolsy player that projects highly at the major league level. So to me, I would be hard pressed not to take a guy as talented as him at number one. There's a couple of other players that are in play for sure here, but to me, when I look at a guy like Druw Jones, he's way too tough to pass up on. At number two, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks going with Termarr Johnson. And when you consider, the Arizona Diamondbacks are well on their way in their rebuild, obviously seeing some early results of that rebuild and some talented players come through the pipeline. But when you look at a guy like Termarr Johnson and how smooth his swing is, he could very well be the best hitter in this class. When it's all said and done, once he makes it up through the minor league system, I think he's going to develop into potentially the best hitter. When you look at how quick his swing is, how great his hands are, getting through the zone, I think overall this is a player that's super exciting, offers some great projectable upside as well at that shortstop position. And I think the Arizona Diamondbacks would be in a really good spot here. They don't have to leave him at short. There's some optionality to maybe potentially move him to second or third. However, I think he very well could stick at that shortstop position. And Termarr Johnson is a terrific prospect still sitting here at number two. And then we jump to number three, and we have the Texas Rangers. And Elijah Green is one of those players that you are absolutely drooling over the potential upside of his power. And the reason that you say that is when you watch his swing, the ball absolutely explodes off of his bat. And, he's had a little bit of issues with the breaking ball, but, this early on in his career, this is something that's fixable. It's adjustable. But when you look at the raw power that he presents to the table, which is probably the highest in the entire class, it's hard to pass up on him. And also when he could potentially stick at that center field spot as well, because he has a pretty good glove out there. So you combine the fielding ability with that raw power, and then obviously there's some other things that are going to have to come along, but his upside is absolutely enormous if this hits. So I think the Texas Rangers would be willing to take a risk on a player with a ceiling this high. And I think overall, this is kind of what you're looking to do if you are the Rangers. That you spent a lot of money in free agency. And I think when you move in here with a guy like Elijah Green, you're definitely pushing your chips forward. At number four, I have Jackson Holliday from out of Stillwater High School, obviously the son of Matt Holliday, and he is a really good athlete. This is a kid that is super, super good in the field, good athlete, and great bat to ball contact skills. And when I think about him in the Pittsburgh Pirates, Holliday very well might not be playing that shortstop position, but he has a good enough glove and projectable glove to kind of play all over the place. Now, I think when you look at him as a potential contact hitter, this is a guy in the league that very well could be hitting 300 consistently, which is something that the Pittsburgh Pirates could be adding to their lineup. And that offers enough upside to me and should be intriguing to them. Guys getting on base. And that's honestly, a lot of teams need that at this point in time. So a guy like Jackson Holliday would be a terrific selection for them. At number five, I have Brooks Lee out of Cal Poly, one of the more established hitters throughout the college ranks. He has proven that he is able to hit to all fields, which is really, really important to me. When you look at a Nationals team that definitely needs a little bit more of that, he's a switch hitter, so that's also really exciting to me. When you're looking at these prospects, and the ability to hit switch at the collegiate level is honestly huge. And I think when you're looking holistically at this Nationals team, once again, doesn't have to play that shortstop spot. You can kind of move them in a variety of different areas. Some of these guys have that versatility in the class. Some of them don't. Brooks Lee definitely projects to be that so. But what's really impressive to me about him is his bat is super advanced for where he's at in his career. And I think that's honestly going to accelerate him through the draft process and honestly getting up to that major league level through the minor league rankings. Now at number 6, we have the Miami Marlins. Kevin Parada from Georgia Tech is going to be my selection here. A guy that is considered to be one of the best college bats at the catcher position this season. And he's super impressive in that regard. He also has a big time arm, hasn't thrown out a ton of runners, but I think with some refined mechanics and techniques with his pop-up and everything, I think you can drastically change the number of stolen bases on him. But the value here to me is his bat, the power upside, the ability once again to hit consistently for contact. And the Miami Marlins, don't get me wrong, have Jacob Stallings in place, but I'm not sure if that's the long-term option. I think Jacob Stallings is a nice catcher for sure. He's won a Gold Glove in his career, but I see Parada offering much higher upside. And the Miami Marlins, when I look at their system, I'm not loving what I'm seeing at the catcher spot. So just establishing another backstop guy in the minor leagues to me is super, super huge. At number 7, Cam Collier from Chipola Junior College. And this is a guy that is going to be extremely young when the draft is happening. I think he'll be 17 years old in like 5 months or something like that when draft day actually happens. Chicago Cubs here are getting a hitter that was absolutely dominating the junior college level, even just at 17 years old. And he has the ability, when you look at, his base, his bottom, the bottom part of his body, very, very strong in that regard, really allows him to put a lot of charge into the baseball. He played third base. I think that's where he projects at the next level. I think he'll stick at that third base spot, but Chicago Cubs getting a powerful bat, a guy that really knows how to use his lower body to generate that pop. And I think that is a worthwhile selection. Number 8, we have the Minnesota Twins, and Jacob Berry is going to give you some optionality in where he's going to play. He very well could be at that third base spot. He could be in the outfield, more presumably in the corner outfield spot. But Jacob Berry, the guy that, was the heartbeat of that Arizona team, ends up transferring over to LSU and really hasn't missed a beat. I think when you look at how much of an advanced hitter he is, this is where the value lies for the Minnesota Twins. Very well could be looking pitching in this realm too, and that's where I've kind of flirted with it on my mock drafts, but I definitely like the Minnesota Twins here going with a guy like Jacob Berry. At number 9, a player that continues to progress up my board. I think when I first was starting to do these, he was sitting, like 19, and now he's worked his way all the way up to 9. Justin Crawford from Bishop Gorman High School in Nevada, one of the more prestigious high schools in the entire nation. And honestly, the son of Carl Crawford is no joke of a prospect. When you look at how toolsy he is, how quick, athletic, and the ability to display some raw power, that should excite a team. And if you're the Kansas City Royals, I think you have to jump in that opportunity to take a guy that offers that high projectable upside. And this is a team that needs to take chances throughout this rebuilding process. Take big swings on guys that very well could be home run selections. And I think that's kind of what Justin Crawford offers you with the good frame, with the raw power, with the athleticism. That is a nice mix for a franchise like the Royals that need to desperately hit big, especially when you're a smaller market team like them. You honestly have to shoot for the stars with some of these prospects. Number 10, Gavin Cross. And this is a player that has I believe, one of the highest exit velocities in the entire country coming off the bat. That ball is screaming. He gets great contact on his hitting. Super advanced guy. He's able to hit for average, able to hit for power. I very well could see him being a corner outfielder at the next level. I think that's more so where he projects. But Gavin Cross is a hitter, super advanced for where he's at Virginia Tech. He's absolutely just raking. And I think when you look at a guy that makes hard contact, putting him in Coors Field is honestly going to be the best thing for him. So I like the Colorado Rockies here going to Gavin Cross. At 11, I got Jet Williams from Rockwall Heath High School, compact shortstop, really good athleticism, makes solid contact consistently. And I think this is kind of where the Mets need to go. I'm not exactly sure what his future looks like at the shortstop position. They very well could move him to that second base, but Jet Williams as a prep guy, very, very strong for his age. And also with that athleticism, it's super intriguing. the compact frame, the ability to, potentially steal bags throughout the minor league level and then eventually the major league level, that offers some, intriguing upside for the New York Mets, in my opinion. Number 12, we have the Detroit Tigers. Chase DeLauter from James Madison, who got off to an awesome start at the start of this collegiate season. He's 6'4", 6'5", huge power, corner outfielder. And I think when you're looking at the Detroit Tigers, who already have a guy like Riley Green, they are well into their rebuild. They're really, really trying to, start to be a little more competitive. However, I think Chase DeLauter is going to be a phenomenal addition with the potential power upside that he brings to the table is kind of exciting to me. And I think the Detroit Tigers would be, hard pressed to not take a guy like Chase DeLauter. Number 13, Brock Porter out of Orchard Lake in Michigan. The prep arm is really good with his command. And I think when you consider what the LA Angels need, they definitely have to go along the pitching side. Obviously they've found some really nice gems in their lineup. They're able to, hit the ball. But honestly, I look at this team as a team that definitely has to look to round out their pitching. This has kind of been more so an issue throughout Mike Trout's career. Brock Porter would be the latest example of a guy that could come in right away. One of the more established prep arms, one of the more advanced ones that we've seen in quite some time, in my opinion. High praise for a guy that has worked well at the high school level, and we'll have to kind of see, if he really wants to pursue and jump into the minors. Now, Connor Prelip from Alabama, guys that knows how to hit the corners, has a nasty slider, and is able to truly locate. Doesn't absolutely blaze the ball by you. However, his location is very, very key here. And the New York Mets are going to be looking to add some more left-handed pitching into this organization. So I think that bodes well for them here. Prelip is one of those guys that is kind of all over people's boards, but I kind of find him, finding a spot more so in the middle of the first round than anything. You'll see quite a bit of variation with where he is going in these drafts. Number 15, Dylan Lesko from Buford High School. The San Diego Padres, I think, will be looking to add another right-handed arm. Obviously, when they moved on from Chris Paddock, that was a big deal. And I think they're going to kind of replenish that minor league system, bringing in a guy like Dylan Lesko, who is a phenomenal prep arm. People love him. People love his ability to locate his fastball, also a nice changeup on top of it. So the San Diego Padres, to me, are making a really good decision here at 15 and selecting a guy like Lesko. Jordan Beck. The Guardians, I think, in the minor leagues ranks definitely need to be looking to address some more pop, guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Jordan Beck is that guy. Now, I know a lot of people are, not loving Tennessee right now, but I think Jordan Beck, his name has kind of gotten muddied a little bit from that. He offers that 6'3" frame, could hit for some significant power at that next level. And I think that in addition to a guy like Jordan Beck is definitely beneficial going down the stretch because he offers some intriguing upside. But once again, he's not going to be a center fielder. He's not going to be one of those guys that you see roaming out there. Decent fielder, but not great in my opinion. So that's a guy to keep your eyes on here. Brandon Barrera, left-handed pitcher. Once again, I think that the biggest thing about Barrera is his ability to throw that nasty slider. This is a pitcher that has a sweeping slider that is a true knockout pitch at the next level. I think the Philadelphia Phillies, once again, within the organization, need to add a few more left-handed starters into the mix. Barrera is the perfect combination of that. Went to American Heritage in Florida, absolutely dominated at the high school level, but I know he is a Vandy commit, so I'm kind of curious to see how that all shapes out for him moving forward. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Reds, and Sterling Thompson's a player that, once again, we have a lot of discrepancy on where he's going to go. Sterling Thompson can hit for a ton of power. People say that he has a huge hole in his swing. Definitely seen some of those strikeouts accumulate towards, this season. And I think the Cincinnati Reds, though, are willing to bank on some power upside here. Once again, in that outfield, when you look at the minor league system for them, I think they could definitely use some more pitching and also some outfield help, and banking on a guy like Sterling Thompson could very well pay off for this organization. Now we have the Athletics, and this is more so based off of Suzak falling, but the big, powerful right-handed catcher is definitely one of those players that is intriguing to me. He has a good arm, big time power, was a switch hitter, ends up more so staying at the right-hand side of the plate just because he felt more comfortable, which that definitely makes sense to me. Focusing on where he was just much better is a good business decision. And the Oakland Athletics are just kind of looking at what's on, what's available on the board, who is the best player that we can get at this spot. And they go ahead and select Daniel Suzak. Obviously, adding more catchers to an organization never hurts. And honestly, they might feel at this point he's the best available. At number 20, Robbie Snelling from McQueen High School in Nevada. And I think Robbie Snelling is another player that's exciting. When you look at the Atlanta Braves, they're going to have to, once again, add another left-handed starter into this, into this collection of arms that they already have. But I think Robbie Snelling, coming out of McQueen, very, very well established. He's one of those higher floor starting pitchers, in my opinion. And I think the Braves here are willing to, take a player that they very well could see. I get he's a prep arm, but I think he's going to come through the ranks a little quicker than people expect. Now we have the Mariners here at 21, and Landon Sims out of Mississippi State. His first couple of seasons at Mississippi State were spent in that bullpen. That is something that is noteworthy here. He ends up converting to a starter and was absolutely lights out for the Bulldogs, and that's worth noting. Big, powerful pitcher, nice changeup, and I think Landon Sims could be one of those guys that was a huge beneficiary of, getting out of his comfort zone, going ahead and jumping into that starting rotation again after spending 2 years in that bullpen is pretty impressive to me. So I like him. I think that, with his mid 90s fastball, that is going to be very, very beneficial. One of his better pitches in terms of location. And I think this is a player that you could like for the Mariners. Now at 22, we look at the St. Louis Cardinals, and this Carson Whisenhunt is a player that has a lot of people kind of curious. Tall left-handed pitcher, a guy that is suspended with PEDs. That is something that definitely ended his season, but he's got a great fastball, really, really nice changeup, and a sweeping curveball to complement that. I think the St. Louis Cardinals here are in a really good position, taking a chance on a guy with a suspension, but that very well could pay off in the end. Now 23, we have Dylan Beavers, and another 6'3" outfielder that has some power upside. In my opinion, I think the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be looking to add a little bit more to their outfield depth heading into the season. Dylan Beavers could be the latest example of that. I like his game. I think he definitely projects as a guy that very well could hit 20 home runs at the major league level. One of the more advanced hitters that we have in the college game right now. And I think the Toronto Blue Jays might be looking more for a polished product as they're trying to fit this into their window with Vlagro Jr., Bo Bichette, and the other supporting casts that they have. 24, we have the Red Sox, and this is based off of pure value. Jace Jung is one of the top hitters in the entire class. When you look at what he is right now as a prospect, he's able to hit for average, he's able to hit for power, and also does not strike out a ton. That's the trifecta for me when you're looking at a prospect. He ended up sliding a little bit in this mock draft, but I know the Red Sox would not even blink and wouldn't even think to take it. They'd just go ahead, run the pick to the podium, and make the selection. Jace Jung, with how advanced of a hitter he is, this would be a very smart pickup by the Red Sox. 25, Connor Zherpe from Oregon State. One of those players that was super, super impressive of the left-handed guys, does maybe not get enough credit. I think the New York Yankees would be hard-pressed not to take a guy like Zherpe. And considering how well that this school produces players is absolutely incredible to me. And I think Zherpe is a player that you could plug in within a couple of years, and he's pretty fun to watch. Definitely a guy worth tuning into. Now we have the Chicago White Sox, and I look at this organization as a potential landing spot for another outfielder. Jacob Melton from Oregon State is a player that I've had my eye on. Definitely wasn't one of the top players when we were going through the mocks before, but he's gotten a little bit more steam as the years gone on. So Jacob Melton is an intriguing player for the Chicago White Sox. And I think adding more outfield depth to this organization is super beneficial. Blade Tidwell is a player that a lot of people love. And I think that I've been kind of sleeping here, to be honest, going through my mock drafts. Blade Tidwell is a player that you definitely have to consider as somebody that's super fun. He's got an upper 90s fastball and a phenomenal slider. And when you look at Tidwell as a prospect, having that high 90s fastball with the sweeping slider is a great combination, especially for a playoff team like the Brewers that very well could be using him in a couple of years. Once again, we have to consider windows here. If you're going to take a prep guy versus a college guy, some teams don't care. Some teams would rather have more of a polished product when they're in a really, really good prime situation with their current MLB roster. Now we have the Astros. Gabriel Hughes from Gonzaga got hurt in the 2021 season, came back strong. And I think when you look at his mid to high 90s fastball, that is super intriguing for teams. Once again, he's able to locate, has a nice changeup and also curveball to add to that repertoire. So the Houston Astros, once again, are going to be adding some pitching. And, Gabriel Hughes here might even be being slept on here in my mock draft. Very well could go higher than 28. 29, Zach Neto from Campbell College. Super quick hands. A guy that gets, his bat through the zone consistently, makes really good contact, very solid contact, and an underrated athlete as well. And when I'm looking at the Tampa Bay Rays, more historically, they've been thinking a lot about their starting pitching. They've been selecting that consistently in the first couple of rounds. But I think now it's time to address another college bat, a guy that's a little more well-established than some of the other ones. So Zach Neto could be a really good selection for this Rays organization. And then finally, with the San Francisco Giants, I have them going with Justin Campbell, a two-way player, but I think he projects more to me as a starting pitcher in the league or potentially a reliever. But with the stuff he brings, some nasty stuff, I think the San Francisco Giants would have a tough time passing up on a guy like him in this draft, just considering the two-way potential is there, but I think he will more so stick to the starting pitching side of things. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Really do appreciate your support. Had a lot of fun recording this and hope that you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any MLB content. Please let me know in the comment section below what other prospects you think should deserve some first-round consideration. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the community. So thanks again for stopping by, and we will catch you in the next video.